What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest TEM Coaching Chat. I am Andrew Hitz, and yeah, if you're hearing my voice, thank you for checking this out. I recently got a message from a young musician, which is actually a message that a question I get asked quite a bit. And so, with their permission, I'm going to read you this note and then I'm going to answer it for everyone. I think it's really important. His name is Michael James Kirby III, and he is a tuba player. He wrote, "Hey there, Mr. Hitz," who I still think is my dad, but I'm not young anymore, so more and more people are calling me Mr. Hits. Anyway, I think I should just be happy that I'm still considered by some to be middle aged. All right. Hey there, Mr. Hits. I have a question for you. I'm a 17-year-old musician who is entering music school next year. I feel like I am a pretty above average player, but fully recognize I really don't have much, in quotes, product to show for it. I am very interested in the marketing side of music and recently have been considering making myself a website, almost as a virtual business card. As I said, I don't feel like I have a lot of product to display, but I know that I wouldn't have an issue filling my website with other content. My question is, given the preceding information, would you find it at all pretentious for someone in my situation to make a website? Boy, Michael, thank you for the message. This is a really important question, and you're never going to believe this, but I have a strong opinion about this. There are absolutely people, if Michael makes a website as a 17-year-old who has, and I'm using air quotes here, not accomplished anything, there are going to be people, a person, or probably multiple people, some who keep it to themselves, others who share it with the world, who think that he is pretentious and that he is full of himself. And hey, kid, why don't you accomplish some stuff before you have a website, etc.? Those people, Facebook tends to skew a little bit older, who are the more easily offended people by strong language. So let me clean this up. They are wrong. They are misguided. That is how they were raised within, especially the classical music world. And they think they're doing you a favor by telling you that, and they're not. And let me explain. So, first of all, the people who don't have the courage to make their own website, as soon as I say, hey, here's a website, then you can go on my website and then you can think that my website sucks. By extension, you can think that I suck because I have such a bad website. Or you can think that I suck because I think that I am worthy of having a website. And it is a lot easier to focus your ire on me for having the audacity to have a website or on Michael for having the audacity as a 17-year-old to have a website, and thinking that anyone cares is a lot easier than actually having the courage to say to the world, my name is Michael James Kirby III, and here is the first version of my website. Here it is. It is really hard to share things. Okay. It's easy to, ideas are almost worthless. They're so easy. If you just exercise that muscle a little bit, you're going to get tons of ideas. You'll get a lot of bad ideas. You're going to get a few good ideas. You do that for a while, you're going to be able to churn out good idea after good idea after good idea. The follow through is actually much harder than the idea. The sharing after you follow through is way harder than even the follow through is. I mean, it's like that's really easy, and then hard, and then really hard is sharing it with the world. So I would completely turn this on its head. Michael, it's not an issue of you being pretentious enough to have a website. It's about you being courageous enough to have a website. I like, and the way that he laid this out, I thought was really thoughtful. Where he said he doesn't have a product to sell, right? I have a number of albums that I don't know how many recordings, 10, 12 recordings that I have been on over the years that I could sell. I have coaching services like TEM Coaching. I mean, there's a lot of things that I offer to the world for money or even just to download for free. When I was 17, that was not the case. However, he said that he's interested in learning the marketing side of music, which means he has to start somewhere, and that he's thinking of this as a virtual business card, and that he would have no problem, no issues filling the website with other content. He has hit the nail on the head, and I think that he knew the answer to this question, but it's it's a really good idea to bounce your ideas off of people, although always beware. Don't take even what I say, it doesn't matter who it is. Don't take what I say just as gospel, right? Obviously, I think that I am doing the best for this young man by giving this answer. However, you should get a bunch of opinions, find out what you think sounds the most and rings the most true with you, and then do that. Your bio, my bio is a very traditional bio, which have been obnoxiously lucky that in my career I have had the opportunity to play with a ridiculous number of great orchestras and great soloists and stood in front of big bands as soloists, and like, I mean, I've been spoiled. The reason I'm saying that is because I'm able to have a traditional bio, which is not just a like with monotony, like listing all the people that I've played with, but I've been fortunate enough that there's enough there that I can have that be the gist of it. However, I've also humanized it. It also mentions at the end that I've seen Fish 201 times, right? Which most people are like, oh God, he mentioned that band again. But somebody who has no idea who I am is like, some people that's not going to mean anything, and then a few people are going to be like, wait, what? Is a professional tuba player who's seen Fit, and then they're all in, right? And so you need to be a human, but when I was 17, I couldn't make a bio that was primarily just listing accomplishments that other people or that the world at large would quote unquote find impressive. You know what Michael has over me? That Michael is Michael. What I have over Michael is that I am me. And that should shine through in his art. It should shine through in his marketing, which includes his website, in everything, because he is his own artist and he has his own relationship with music, with the tuba, with how he makes music, with how he consumes music, with like all of the above is different than mine. And if we and we do know each other in an electronic sense, pretty well for being on the in the peripheral of each other. I bet there'd be a lot of overlap there if we got to know each other really well. However, there's going to be a lot that's different about me than about Michael. That's what he should lean in on. And his website can absolutely, and his bio on his website, etc., can absolutely reflect that. I love the fact that he is talking about it being like a virtual business card. That is exactly what it is. Every single day, multiple people go to andrewhitz.com/bio and voluntarily read about what I have done in my career. That is someone who comes up to you at a dinner party. You remember parties? I do. I almost miss them. I kind of do like being alone, but not because I'm forced to because of a damn pandemic. But anyway, that's someone who comes up to me at a party and who says, oh, what do you do? And then they start to hear a little bit, and then they're like, they make it clear where they're asking questions like, wait, tell me more. Wait, you did what? You played with who? You did that? Like they interview me for 10 minutes and like have me tell all of that. That's much different than me cornering you at a dinner party and then reading you or reciting to you from memory the long form of my bio, right? I think that people can have this misconception like having a website is bragging. No, having a website is simply a place where people who want to learn more about you and your music are able to go and learn more about you and your music. You're actually insane if you're a musician who is trying to monetize things. Income always follows impact. But if you want to impact people and they are asking Google, they're asking the universe, the search engine gods, please tell me more about Michael James Kirby III, and almost nothing comes up on the search. That is a tragic tale right there. If you search my name, you are going to get my like multiple podcasts and my website and all these. And I've been doing this for a lot longer. I mean, I've been hosting the Brass Junkies since Michael was about 10. And I've had a blog since he was about 7. And I became a professional tuba player when he was like -4. But anyway, I digress. The point is that I've been doing this a long time, so of course there's going to be more things. But what you need is that if somebody sees you do something hip on Facebook or on Instagram, in an Instagram story or something like that, and they then go to your, to your bio on your, on Instagram and your profile, and then they click on the link, right? And it's like they want to go click on a link because they want to learn more about you. That could turn into somebody who is an absolutely enormous fan of yours, and they're asking you to tell them more about what you do. That's somebody right there. It's easy to sell things eventually to people who want to know on their own beforehand. This is not you. You rarely have the chance to explain to someone why they should be impressed by this thing that you offer for money, and then convince them that they need to buy it, and then that you're the person that they should buy it from, and that right now is the time that they should buy it. It's a heck of a lot easier for me to get a TEM coaching client by finding someone who recognizes that as musicians, we take private lessons, like one a week for year after year after year after year. And the fact that most of us never have spent a penny on a single hour of having like a business coach help you with the outside. It's the equivalent of being able to hear what's coming out of your bell from the other side of the bell and then tell you and to help you kind of hone what you're trying to sound like, who you're playing for, etc. Once it's hard for me to convince someone that they need to have that coaching is an important thing and that it's important for them and that I'm the person to do it and that they should give me their money right now. It's much easier if you have decided, you know what, I need an entrepreneurial coach. I need a music business coach. And I have heard Andrew's podcast so many times and it really resonates with me. And so I think I'm ready to make the plunge. And they've already decided that I'm the person to do it. That's an easy sale to close versus convincing someone, right? So don't spend time convincing anybody of anything, right? Just you have to be out there. You have to put yourself out there, and that opens yourself up to criticism. But again, what's easier for a fellow 17-year-old to say, Michael is putting himself on the same level as Pat Sheridan, who has a website, and Michael thinks that he should have a website, or Carol Yonch has a website, and Michael now thinks he's Carol Yonch, apparently, because he has a website, which it doesn't mean that at all. It's a hell of a lot easier for that fellow 17-year-old to crap on Michael by saying that he's comparing himself to Carol and Pat and all of the rest of the great tuba players in the world, when actually they're just spending all of that time and energy criticizing what other people are doing to hide from the fact that they don't have the courage to do that thing that they're criticizing in the first place. So, Michael, absolutely make a website. Sorry, there's one last point here, which is that you will still, in many schools of music, you will find very well-intentioned, very successful, particularly older, and I mean, I would put myself in that category, and even older than that, professors who will give you very well-intentioned advice that will say that you should not put any recordings out there of you playing anything until your Sibelius Violin Concerto is essentially perfect. You shouldn't post it, and that you shouldn't have a website. I have heard people say you shouldn't have a website until you've accomplished something. Well, any 17-year-old who's super curious about music has already accomplished something. I don't agree that there is this list of acceptable things that we are supposed to, in air quotes, be impressed by. And here's the thing, by the way, is that the people, and there are a number of them in academia, but the people who have like this unofficial list of things that is actually impressive and makes it acceptable to have something like a website, they will never share that list with you because they don't actually have a list. It was a different time not too long ago. Like you really had to spend a ton of money 20 years ago, a ton of money to design a website, and you had to exhaust tons of resources. And it was kind of like you had to be the first Boston Brass website, which was not any good. That was about 20 years ago. We paid a web developer $3,000 to just design the website, and then we had to pay them to keep updating it because it was complicated enough that none of us tried, but none of us were willing to take the time to figure it out. And so it was like so back then, maybe the advice of if you're 17 and just because you have rich parents, like don't necessarily like have a website when it's basically going to be like Canadian Brass and the Kronos Quartet, and then you like 17-year-old bassoon player. But anybody, the gatekeepers are gone now. It's like anyone can launch a website from their phone. I mean, you could, without a desktop or laptop computer, you could, it would be hard, but you could make, it would just be a pain in the ass. You could make a website. So beware of even well intentioned advice from somebody who came up 20, 30 years ago, who doesn't, for as a part of their job, regularly think about how the world has changed in terms of how you get noticed, when you quote unquote should get noticed, etc. So, all right, that was long, but well, for my standards, it was short. But Michael James Kirby III, thank you so much for your message, for your question. I love it. I love getting, especially from young musicians, I love getting questions like that. And I hope that you found that helpful, Michael. And I hope that somebody else did too, which is why I wanted to post this. So, anyway, happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I hope that everybody is taking the time to really think about the man that we are honoring today, because I think we could all stand to do that a little bit more. And I hope you have a wonderful